Hi, welcome to my presentation for my major project module. So, my first idea was the power of makeup and how it can be used to remove blemishes without the need of editing softwares, and like makeup can be seen as like a real life retouching software that works on your face in real life and not just digitally. So like it makes your skin look flawless in person like all the time, whereas like softwares only make your skin look flawless on digital platforms. So I had some photo shoot ideas like doing half face with makeup, half face without makeup, showing like how powerful makeup can be and giving people confidence and so on. And then I was going to explore into drag queen makeup and how makeup allows them to become a whole new person or character and gives them confidence and allows them to express themselves through the beauty of makeup. And then I had the idea to film each model applying their makeup, and then I was maybe thinking of that could be like a final piece, like put loads of different videos together from each module and see what I could come up with. So, since I didn't live near university, I took all my photo shoots in my home studio as it was just easier for me to do it that way. So, this was my first shoot, and then here's a couple of pictures that were these were the best pictures. So, there's this one, and then this one. So, that's obviously like the before and after, like the edited. And then I obviously filmed a video of her applying her makeup, and if you click the link or copy and paste it into the internet browser, you'll be able to see that video. And if the link doesn't work, which it should work because I have triple checked it, then please email me and I will sort that out. But it should 100% work. And then this is just like a little before and after showing like the makeup transformation, like how she's gone from that on the left, like looking like that plain and not feeling very confident, to then on the right feeling very like beautiful and confident and amazing. And then this was my second model, and again the before and after of a couple of pictures that I liked the best, and that's the second one. And yet and again I've filmed a video, and this is the before and after of with and without makeup, and as you can see, like it makes a big difference to the person and it makes them feel confident and so on. And then basically I put a post out on social media in order to find like more models for photo shoots, and I did actually have quite a lot of response, but like when it came to it, people would let me down saying there wasn't available anymore or there was ill, um so on and so forth. And then I was this was really annoying, and like I worried that I wasn't going to find anybody at all to photograph. Oh god, that's annoying. Sorry about that. And then obviously the COVID-19 pandemic came, and like obviously lockdown happened, so obviously I couldn't photograph any new people. So I decided that it would be best if I came up with another idea for this module. So when I was coming up with a new idea, I've realised that, well, I remembered that when I was doing the critical practice module just before like Christmas and that, I wanted to like do my personal diary and like explore my diary of like bring to life my diary, like what was written down. I was going to bring them to life with obviously photographs showing like how I felt when I wrote them down. So And then for some of the photo shoots, I wanted to create like mixed media photographs. So I was thinking like I could paint on top of pictures, write words over the face of the pictures, and ripping some images and putting them back together, melting crayons over the image, and then I came up with like string over the face, like also in real life and not in real life, so on the image and on my face when taking the photograph. So then these are a few photographers that inspired me to do my diary journal photo shoots. As like these photographers have like explored like mental health with their photography work. So these are a couple of photographers, and then I looked at some more, and I just found them really inspiring, and like they like motivated me to like come up with some ideas for photo shoots and stuff like that. So that's who I looked into. And then when I was doing my mixed media work, these were the two mixed media artists that inspired me to do like come up with some like unique and different ideas on how I can like edit the picture, but like edit it with different medias, like obviously putting string on top of an image or like painting over an image and stuff like that, instead of just like photoshopping an image. Like I did something different. And then I looked into like mental health, because that's what like my topic is all about, like mental health and how like it can affect people and stuff like that, and to show that mental health is real and that it does affect people. So basically my diary entries, when I like I've had some when I was younger and some recent ones, and I've just chosen like different ones out of my journal, and I've created photo shoots from them. And so basically what I've done is looked at like statistics of like mental health to like show that it is real and people do suffer. And then um, I looked in exploring mental health through photography. So like mental health has always been like a touchy subject, which many people don't like to always talk about. And as you may know, like mental health disorders can lead to suicide, and around 800,000 die from suicide every year. And suicide is the second leading cause of death for people aged 15 to 29. I found some interesting things on the internet when I was doing my research, and I found that between the years of 1848 and 1858, Dr. Hugh Welch Diamond, who is a medical superintendent at Surrey County Asylum and one of the founders of the Royal Photography Society, created a series of portraits of his mental health patients in his care. He did this because he wanted to get a better diagnostic of his patients in order to give them better care. The photographs he took are now being shown in some of the most famous museums in the world, where people will visit them and wonder how their lives may have been and how they may have been feeling during their lives. And I find it really interesting that he took these photographs and now they're just in the most famous museums, and people like can see them and see that they struggled with their mental health, and that it's just it is real, like what's going on in people's minds, it's not false, and these photographs just prove it, in my opinion. And then I also looked at the fact that mental health has become like more popular, and many people like it's more open. A lot more people speak about it now, and it's not like in the shadows as much as it may used to be back in the day. So I found this photographer who called Daniel Regan. I hope that's pronounced like that. And he's created a website where he like publishes interviews that he has had with many artists who photograph like their mental health, like when they're going through their dark times, and they used photography to like express their feelings and to like use it as an outlet to show how they're feeling at that time. And a lot of photographers have like made very successful photography work from exploring their mental health through photography. So this was my first entry that I took out of my diary or journal. Um, so basically, it was just about like one night I couldn't sleep, and I was like suffering from insomnia, and I just like wanted to scream and just like let all my problems out, and I just felt crazy, but I just couldn't get to sleep at all, and I just wrote it down. Otherwise, it would have just been on my mind. So I just like to write things down to get them out of my mind, and obviously this is one of the things that I wrote down. Then these are the photographs that I came up with it that like correspond with how I was feeling. So my mind was all messed up, and so I felt like mind messed up, and I felt like the scribbles on the face like represent like all muddled up, and because obviously the lines are not in order and they're all over the place. So, and you can barely see the face. So I like that, as it shows like that it's the mess of my mind is overtaking me. And then this is another one that I came up with, as I said in the journal entry, that I wanted to just scream. So I thought I'll just show how I would have screamed if I was to scream. And then I just liked adding the rips to it, because I felt like if you scream and like you, when people, I associate like screaming and like it's like angry, and then like very like glass smashing. So like if you scream, like glass can smash, like if you see it in like horror films, for example. Um, so like the scratches and like the rip was like to represent like breaking when I'm obviously screaming. And then the string, I liked this idea, like how my face is like my mind's all over the place, and like I'm not sure what's going on, and like the string is like representing like it's taking over me, like it's covering my face and it's like eating me alive. So it's like almost like a wall, but it's not fully there yet. Like it's just half a wall, and it's slowly creeping up on me and like taking over my thoughts, and it's all inside my head. And that's what the string like represents, like basically like blocking my mind. Then this was my second entry. So in 2013, this is when I wrote this, so I would have been like 14 years old. I basically updated my profile picture, and I felt really confident in this picture, and I was like, oh, I like this picture, I'm going to put it as my profile picture. And then I started getting bullied on the comments, like people from my school would say nasty things like gay boy and fag, and just all nasty like words that you can think of. So obviously, when I was a kid, I wrote this down, and it really upset me at the time, and I felt like I could create some strong images from this. So the first one was writing all like the hate words that people said to me on my face. So like I got called like gross and like dumb and spotty and queer and fag and disgusting. So like I just decided to put them all over my face to show like the words are taking over me, and like I'm allowing the bullies to win, and it's making me really upset. And yeah, so that's why I did that one. And then obviously it really upset me, and I did actually cry and then delete the picture from Facebook. So I decided to like do a tear, and this was with ink. So then I dripped ink from on top of the picture, and then I went round it in Sharpie pen to like make it stand out a little bit better. So yeah, that's that picture. And then my third entry was basically I rushed into a relationship and excuse me, and it was very controlling and manipulating and verbally abusive, and it made me like really lose my self-esteem. And I moved in with this guy and it was very bad, and I just couldn't get out at the time and I didn't know what to do, and like I was feeling like my life was being taken over and I was being told how I should look and dress and who I can be friends with, and it just really like made me lose my self-esteem and made me feel very depressed. So this like represents being controlled and like trapped. So like the string wrapped around my face is obviously representing being like controlled, like being tied down and being trapped, like you can't move and do whatever you want. And then the rips just represent like being dysfunctional and like torn up and like messy, and obviously the relationship was a mess, so that's what that represents. And then the second image was obviously I was told, as I've said, sorry, um, I was being told how I could look. So I did take a picture with the string, but then I decided like, well, in my entry, the journal entry, I talked about how I was told how I could look. So I felt like I couldn't choose for myself how I wanted to look myself. So I thought that I was non-existent, like I didn't have my own opinion. So obviously when I would look in the mirror, I didn't see the true me, like I saw no, like I didn't recognize the person I saw in the mirror. So I decided to like print the image out and then rub out, like wet the image on my face and then rub it until it peeled away the part where my face was. And then the next image was a close up of the mirror, of me in the mirror, and then again like trapped and not being able to like choose how I wanted to look myself and be myself. And then the string like represents like bars, like also almost like jail cell bars, like I'm being trapped, and obviously I can't get free and be whoever I want to be and do whatever I want. This next entry was uh, my first ever time going to Gay Pride, and I had a really good time. And then I felt really like accepted, and I was felt really good. And then on my way home, obviously my friends don't live the same side of town as me, so I had to go home on my own. And when I got on the bus to go home by myself, there was a group of lads and they started like staring at me and like giving me mucky looks. And then when I sat down in the only seat available, which was really close to them, they kept like staring at me and I felt really uncomfortable. And then they started to get their bus tickets and like rip them up into little pieces and then roll them up in a ball, and they would throw them at the back of my head and stuff. And then I asked them to stop and they wouldn't stop, and then they got worse and they started to start shouting homophobic abuse at me, like call me like gay boy and faggot and etc. And it really upset me. And then I got it got to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore, so I had to like get off at the next stop, and then I had to call my brother and like beg him to pick me up. Um, and this like made me feel like really ashamed and outcasted, like it's not okay for me to be gay, and like my whole pride experience was ruined. And I felt like at the time I could never fully be myself out in public ever again. And then this is the first image that I made. So I wanted to like use all the colours of the rainbow from the crayons and like melt them on top of my picture. So obviously the picture that I used was from the string well, I took them at the same time as I put wrapped the string around my face on the previous one, because I thought that like it would represent like scars and stuff, like from where I've been like verbally abused and stuff like that, like marks where like their their abuse like hurt me. But I didn't realize that when I would melt the crayons that you wouldn't see them at all. So that was not intentional, but I really liked how the picture came out. And then I thought like, how can I make it look more upsetting, because it looks kind of like pop art and it doesn't give it that like deep like upset feeling that I was trying to go for. So then this is how I came up with the next picture, was obviously put it in black and white, and then that obviously gave it a darker feeling. And then I've decided to like show that I did, like, by ripping up the coloured picture and the black and white picture and then piecing them back together, so it shows uh like a clash, like disorientated. And it kind of represents how obviously the colourful parts of the picture show how like there I enjoyed my Pride experience and I had a really good time. But then when I got on the bus home, I obviously got verbal abuse, like homophobic uh, slur shouted at me. So obviously that represents like the dark parts of it. So yeah, I really like how that came out. Then fifth entry was recent actually. I basically lost my job due to the lockdown of because of coronavirus, and I've been really worrying about paying my bills and stuff, and I was really stressed, and I had a really bad night terror. Um, and obviously it was the stress that brought it on. And basically the dream that I had, which obviously felt real at the time, was I was suffocating and like screaming for help, but no one could hear me. And like I was trying to get up and I could only move my arms, and I was like freaking out, and I was like slowly losing my breath and I couldn't breathe, like, and I was shouting for somebody to come save me, but nobody could hear me. And then eventually I died from suffocation. And then next minute, like, my partner is like shaking me, waking me up, shouting my name, like, Dean, Dean, wake up. And then like I lay there and I'm like, what the hell's just happened? And then obviously I realised that it was all just a dream. But then I proper struggled to like get back to sleep, because obviously it was just all in my mind and it was just like so crazy. So these are the pictures. So obviously I felt like I was suffocating and screaming for help. So this is what this represents. This, like, I've used cling film, like kitchen cling film, and wrapped it around the image, and then I like ripped a hole on the eye and the mouth, and to show like I was trying to get out, but it was too powerful and I couldn't get out. And obviously I did it around my mouth because I was like screaming for help. So I really like this picture. And then this one basically was the same image as that one, but I did this with a photo transfer and photo transferred the image onto fabric, and then that's how it came out, the picture in the middle, which was very poor quality. Like, it didn't, the image did not show up very well. And then when I scanned it in on my printer and obviously put it into Photoshop and photoshopped it and turned it into black and white, obviously the colours popped out, and I really liked that. Really liked that picture. And then this was another picture, me looking trapped and like trying to break out, and looks almost like I'm banging on a glass window to like, because I'm trapped somewhere and I'm trying to get out. And then I kind of did the same concept, but I used bubble wrap. The same concept as the first one, but I used bubble wrap instead. Um, yeah, I really like this image as well. And then the last image, I Obviously, in my entry, I wrote that I eventually died in my dream from suffocating. So I used ink and I squirted ink over the image, and then to like represent like death, like obviously blacked out the eyes and stuff. Um, and I really like this image, and then obviously I put it in Photoshop and like obviously made it look 10 times better. So that was that. And then the sixth entry was basically I was going on holiday. When I went on holiday last year, like I was trying to lose weight, and I did lose quite a bit of weight, but I still just felt uncomfortable. Like I still had, still wasn't happy with my body, and like I really tried so hard, and I basically was just like, oh my god, I don't think I can go on holiday because I feel so uncomfortable being topless, like in the pool or on the beach, and like I just wish I didn't care what other people like thought of me, but obviously I do, and obviously I do struggle from like body dysmorphia and like body confidence and obviously self-esteem. But I did try and lose weight, but obviously when I would look in the mirror, I just hated my body and I hated what I'd see, and it like made me feel sick. And I was just like, I wish I had a better body, and I wish I felt confident, or I wish I loved the body that I had, but like I just can't. So these are the images that I came up with. So this was the first one, showing how like obviously I hate my body and I don't even want to look at myself in the mirror. Then this one was like me looking in the mirror but like covering my body up because I don't want people to see it, and I hate it. Like I hate my body like how it is. And then the last one was covering my face, because covering my face and covering my body, because obviously I don't want people to see my body, but then I'm covering my face because I don't even want to see it as well, because I hate it that much. So that was the pitch. They were the pictures that I came up for that entry, which I really like these pictures. They're one of my favorite out of all of them. And then my seventh entry was basically we found out some bad news that my stepmom has cancer, and like it proper turned my family upside down, and like it just basically just we all cried for weeks, and it's just like really devastating because like my stepmom's been in my life since I was 3 years old, and like obviously the thought of losing her like kills me inside, and I don't know how me and my family would cope. And like it made me angry because like my stepmom is like the nicest person you would ever meet. Like she would do anything for you, and like she wouldn't ask for anything in return. And like I'm just like I was so angry because I was like, why does she deserve to have cancer when there's like murderers and there's like criminals in the world, and they live their life like freely and stuff, and yet my stepmom is like the nicest person in the world and so kind and thoughtful, yet she's the one with cancer. Like it just made me feel angry and sick, and it made me want to scream, and I lost a lot of sleep over it because obviously my dad's not the type of person that would cry. Like he never cried. Like I've never seen him cry actually. um and obviously he did cry obviously over this awful news. So yep, it was very very dark time. So these are the images that I came up with. So obviously I was like stressed and like upset and angry and like screaming, and like I just wanted to like let all my emotions out and like go crazy because I'm just like, why does my stepmom have to have cancer? Like what? Like why couldn't it be me? Do you know what I mean? Like I'd rather have it than her. So obviously that's how I felt when I wrote them down. Like I just wanted to scream, and I felt real angry and stuff. And then obviously I edited them and turned them into black and white because I think that black and white really gives that like deep dark feeling and emotion to the images, and really and actually makes the image like stand out a lot more and give it more emotion. So that was that entry. And then the next entry was me and my partner had a big argument, and it was like our first time living together. Like we started renting a place together, and we weren't used to seeing each other like 24/7, and obviously I think we can get on each other's nerves a lot. So yeah, we had an argument, and a mirror got smashed, and like I was so shocked and like upset because I thought like this would never happen, and like I thought like this would be the end of our relationship, and I was just like so upset, and the argument lasted for like several days, and it like sent me down a real bad like depression path, and like I just cried and was so upset for days. But like thank God we like came to our senses and realized our relationship was more important than that, and obviously we made up with each other, and obviously we're still strong today, which is obviously good. And then these were the pictures that I came up with. Like obviously I am showing like me picking up the broken pieces of mirror, um and showing that like me looking in them and showing like, oh my god, I'm like so upset, and like just looking into them with like thinking like, oh my god, what's going on, why are we arguing, what's happening, like why is this happening to us. And this was the second image, and then the third image is basically like I don't want to look at it because I'm like so upset with what's happening, like I just can't deal with it, and so I'm like looking away, and I kind of like how I made the my face blurry but my hand in focus. I really like that. And last but not least, um, one of my final, one of my most recent entries. Um, it's talk like I just like write whatever I'm thinking about. I don't always write in my journal, but when I'm having like a bad day, I will write in it. Or when I'm like really got something on my mind that I want to write down, I just like write it. And then this was one of them, and I was like talking about like how throughout my life I've like always struggled with like mental health issues and so on. And then I just like wanted to talk about like how I like to go on walks into the woods and like escape from reality and like clear my mind. And I found it to be really effective and like a healthy way to deal with my thoughts and emotions. And while I'm out and about, like in the woods, I like to take my camera with me and like focus on photography. And I like to take photos of like like how the nature that I see on my walk, and it makes me feel real calm and like peaceful, and it makes me like forget about any negativity in my life, and it just allows me to escape for a few hours. So these was like a few photos that I liked, and I was like, my thought process for this was like, okay, like how would I look if I was like walking through the woods, like feeling real upset and stuff, and like feeling gloomy, like trying to get the negativity out of my mind, and then like just like pictures of me like walking around the woods and like feeling real, trying to like forget about any bad things and just like clear my mind. And then obviously like I talked about like hiding from reality, so obviously I was like hiding from the truth and just escaping for a few hours. And then I wanted to end it with like it's okay not to be okay, like as long as you don't stay that way, like as long as you don't always stay like negative, it's okay to be negative like now and again, as long as you can always come positive at the end. So then I wanted to show like pictures that make me feel happy and calm, and like obviously like I said, I like to go into the woods and obviously take pictures of the nature that I see, and it makes me feel calm and relaxed and happy. So then these were a few of the pictures that I took. Obviously like this is the before and after like of editing them. this is the second one, and then this one, and then this one, and finally this one. Oh, sorry, no, there's one more, and then that one. So for my final piece, obviously because I was taking entries from my journal and creating photo shoots based on how I was feeling when I wrote them down. So for my final piece, I wanted to create like a photo book with the diary entry, which I typed them up because obviously my handwriting was awful, and obviously I wanted to give like a modern finish and look to it, and I wanted to show how like put them together with the photos to show like the entry, so how I was, what I wrote down and how I was feeling, and then the pictures would come after it to show like this is what it would look like when I was writing it down, like how I was feeling at that time. And then obviously I found like two like journals online from like Anne Frank and Leonardo da Vinci. Like they kind of like inspired this. These are the reason why I wanted to create like a photo book, because I liked their like take on it. Like obviously they wrote their thoughts and feelings down and all their opinions and like things that they went through and stuff like that. So obviously that's what I wanted to do as well. But obviously I wanted to like have a modern twist to mine, like obviously because mine's got like photographs in them and stuff like that correspond to the diary entry. So obviously to do my final piece, I ordered some old, like some paper that like looks old, and then I ordered some like mount backing board and obviously bookbinding tool set to obviously create my book. And then I decided I needed a front cover, and I thought, oh, let's just do like a different picture to one of the pictures, because I didn't want to create the book and then use one of the pictures that is already inside the book, because then that's like kind of like lazy, and obviously you'd have like a duplicate picture. So I decided to like create a new one, and yeah, I felt like I had I saw this I saw something similar online where people do like milk baths and like do photo shoots in milk baths, but I want to like do like a depression and like mental health version of it, like like struggling with mental health version. So obviously that's why I was like drowning in the water. And then the book itself, I made the entries like not in order by date they were wrote to like symbolize mental health can be messy and all over the place. And then nearly all the images are black and white apart from the nature pictures at the end, because I feel like it gives it a dramatic feel to the images and highlights the deep emotion. And then obviously the nature pictures at the end are in colour, because it shows that like life isn't always negative and there will be positives in your life, and things can always end positive. And then I have a digital version of my book, which if you like click this link or copy and paste it into a web browser, you'll be able to see the digital version of my book, what I created. And then basically like due to lockdown, I haven't been able to like get my final piece, like the pictures for the book, like printed out like in high quality prints, and like the printer that I have at home is like really cheap and old, and it's like the quality of the printouts are not very good, and then the ink started to run out when I wanted to print out my front cover, so there's and a few other pictures, so there's like a few lines on my images, which is really annoying, but I have like done my best and tried my best. But obviously like due to like lockdown, I've lost my job, so I haven't got any money to like purchase any more ink, so this is the best that I could do. So I do have a video of me making the book, and I'm actually really proud of the book. Like, I'm really proud of the book and how it came out. Like, I'm really impressed with myself because I've never binded a book like this before. I've glued a book together, but never like binded a book. I like it. Like, I'm not perfect, but I was really impressed with how it came out. And obviously, you can watch the video by clicking on this link. And that is it for my presentation. Thank you for listening.